Hi everybody, welcome to the first video of 2023 here on my channel. Since it is the start of a new year, I wanted to go ahead and take the opportunity to talk to you guys about what everyone is thinking about and talking about right now anyway, which is New Year's resolutions. So as we know, new year, new me, new goals, all that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna sit and get ready for the day with you guys. So if I look a little shiny or a little greasy, it's because I just did my skincare. So yeah, we're just gonna jump right into it and just talk about how to approach the new year and kind of my personal mindset going into the new year, and talking about the differences between discipline and motivation, which is where a lot of New Year's resolutions come from. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. Last year, I decided that I wanted to start a YouTube channel after watching YouTube and being on YouTube for I don't even know how long, an insane amount of years, right? So anyway, I decided I want to start a YouTube channel, and it was New Year, and it wasn't a New Year's resolution, but the timing just kind of fell that way. When I had the realization that I wanted to do something different was early January, mid-January, something like that. I felt motivated, but I also felt scared to step out and do something so outside of the box for me personally. And the reality of the situation is that whenever I actually started doing it, it took me a really long time to kind of get into the rhythm and get into the swing of things. And that's why I kind of ended up creating the how to make time video schedule situation that I shared with you guys here on YouTube. And even after I had made that, it worked for me for a long time. Well, not even a long time, honestly. It worked for me for a few months. It was late summer, early fall whenever I had done that. And it worked for me for a few months. And then all of a sudden, life showed up. I mean, who's surprised? Not me, right? I'm honestly not surprised that ended up happening. Life is just gonna pop up and ruin all your shit when you least expect it. Or not even when you least expect it, but when it's less convenient, the most inopportune time. And so it was just way too much, and I couldn't find time to do everything. And even with my whole scheduling, planning, I don't even know what you want to call it, but with that whole situation of trying to be on top of things and plan things, I still fell off majorly. And getting back on was extremely difficult for me. And what I found was that I just kind of let things be. I wasn't really trying that hard to get on top of things again or figure it back out. And it was honestly because I felt extremely overwhelmed. And so because I was so overwhelmed, I kind of resorted to just letting life just kind of happen. And so I was not scheduling things. I was not on top of things. I was not trying to figure things out. It was just whatever I have time for today is what I am gonna do and pay attention to. And whatever I don't have time for, I guess we'll just push it out onto the next day or whatever. And obviously that didn't end up being a great thing. I don't know who I was kidding, but is anybody surprised? Was anybody surprised that everything just went to shit? No, and so that's where I was last fall. What I ended up doing after that, once everything went down the rabbit hole and I was just completely floundering and lost and needing some kind of order in my life. I needed order all along with everything that was going on. I needed organization and to know what was happening, but I just couldn't figure it out. And so that's where I was at. And so it super hit me. Well, not even hit me, but I just really came to terms with the fact that I needed to get a handle on things, and that waiting for things to just pop up and handle them then, or waiting to have the motivation to take on something was not working for me. So last year at some point I ended up watching or seeing, I don't know if it was on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, but it was like a short or like a reel or something. And it was essentially it was someone talking about how like when you're in a relationship, like you're dating someone or even just your friends, if they make a promise to you or like agree to do something and then they don't, we are really like upset. Like it really bothers us. Like we'll be like, no, this is not what I signed up for. Like you need to keep your word, be about your word. Like if you made a promise to me, I expect you to follow through with it, right? And like I think that's normal for everybody to have those kind of expectations on like people in your circle. And so the point of the video and the whole like conversation after that point was made was that we have those expectations of other people, but we break promises to ourselves all the time. And we don't even bat an eye about it. Like when it happens, we'll make excuses. We will be like, oh no, I was really tired, or it's okay, I'll just do it next time, or we'll choose not to face it. Like if you're saying that you're gonna eat healthier, or you're gonna go to the gym, or you're gonna make a YouTube channel and you're gonna be consistent and you're gonna upload every single week, but then you don't, we'll just let it go. We'll be like, okay, not a big deal, I'll jump on it when I can. But then like you may not actually make time to like go back and do that thing. And so like that video really struck me because I was in that same boat. So like my example with the YouTube thing, like I think I saw it, like I think I said last fall or something, I had seen this video, and I had decided like very early on in 2022 that I wanted to start a YouTube channel and that I wanted to like talk about specific things. And here I was like in the fall of 2022, and like I had done barely anything. Like I had a handful of videos up that like took me pretty much all year to like film and edit and stuff. And like, yeah, I was learning the process, which is a ton of work that like a lot of people don't even talk about or know. Like the behind the scenes stuff that takes place to like run a YouTube channel and like just even start it up is like insane. But yeah, I had, you know, taken the time to start the channel and record a couple videos and edit a few videos, but like I wasn't taking it seriously enough compared to like how I felt about it. Does that make sense? Like here I am saying this is what I really want to do. I want to change my life. I want to do something different, but I'm putting all my time and energy into this other thing. And I wasn't putting my time and energy into the YouTube channel. Why? And it was honestly because of a lack of discipline. And so the reason that I'm even like sharing this information is because new year, new goals, New Year's resolutions, like all this kind of things. Like a new year, like the very, very beginning of the new year is when people tend to decide that they want to like make some kind of change in their life. And we feel really motivated at the beginning of the year. And it's exciting, it's fun, it's everything you want to do, and it's really special, right? And yes, I know that this brush is too big to be doing my nose contour, but I'm gonna do it anyway. We're back now. I completely messed up on this side, so if you can tell, just act like you can't. Thank you. Anyway, what I was saying was that it's the new year, and so everyone's super excited to like make a new change, right? And so usually that excitement comes from like a motivation factor, and motivation is great, right? Like we love to talk about being motivated, and like we love to talk about, you know, feeling that like desire and like that push to do something. But I have to say that I'm not really a fan of motivation. And the reason why is because motivation is like a high to me. I will 1000% like randomly get motivated, which I think is probably the case for most people. But you know, we talk about motivation so much, like as a society of like, oh, you have to stay motivated. Oh, take advantage of that motivation. Keep yourself motivated. And it's like, how? Like, yeah, you can sit here and, you know, think about what you want to achieve, and that might help you stay motivated. But like, it doesn't work like that for everybody. And so I'm not a fan personally of motivation because it comes and goes. And so like, if I'm operating solely off motivation, then I'm gonna be victim to it. So like, if I'm not feeling motivated to do something, it's gonna be really hard for me to like make myself do it, if that makes sense. And so like that essentially is what I have found to be true for myself over time, that like if I'm only or mainly operating from like a motivation standpoint, it is really hard for me to like get things done, because once I'm not feeling that motivation, it's almost like I make myself reliant on it. And I don't know if that's a me thing, but yeah, like I found myself kind of relying on feeling motivated in order to like get something done. And like that's just really not conducive to even getting stuff done like on a consistent basis. In those situations where I found myself not feeling motivated to like do something, I ended up feeling like I was almost like failing or like letting myself down, because I was just like, why am I not motivated? And so like I feel like for me personally, and maybe for other people out there, if you become like reliant on that like feeling of motivation, it can flip on you and like really start to mess with your head if you're not feeling motivated, because you feel like you're doing something wrong, and like it's not even you. It's just inherently motivation is not like a constant thing. It's not consistent. It's not always going to be around. And so after I figured that out, I just kind of had this flip. Part of that flip, I think, was that video that I mentioned to you guys about like the promises and making promises to yourself. So like once I realized that like motivation for me was just not cutting it, and I was like feeling bad because I wasn't feeling motivated, and once I realized that like I have to make a promise to myself and keep that promise to myself if I actually want to like achieve something, that's when like it switched to me that like for me to get things done and for me to like feel good and to like be on top of things the way that I want to be, I have to look at it from like a dedication standpoint. And that's how I view like the promises thing. Like me making promises to myself equals dedication. So I feel like a lot of times people will look at dedication or think about dedication as like something that we have to do, right? So it's not fun, it's not like exciting, it's more like almost like an obligation. And so when you approach something from kind of like that negative connotation, that negative headspace, it becomes something that you don't want to touch. And so like discipline looks and sounds on the surface level as something like negative, but I actually think that like discipline I actually think that discipline is like the best thing that you can do yourself, and like one of the highest forms of like self-care and self-love, because at the end of the day, nobody is gonna do anything for you except you. Like if you want to like lose weight, if you want to eat healthier, if you want to like start a new job or start a new like project or whatever, like at the end of the day, you have to do it. You have to start it and like do the damn thing yourself. And like, that's it. Like no one's gonna hold you accountable. It's not like your job where like, if you don't show up or you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're gonna get fired. So I feel like with me, and like a lot of the times when we take on these like new things, especially like during the new year, that like we don't have necessarily that like accountability coming from somewhere else. It's only coming from us. And so because it's only coming from us, it's really easy for us to just be like, oh, it's okay. It's not a big deal if like I don't go to the gym today. And it's not a big deal if I don't go to the gym tomorrow either. And then next thing you know, you're not going to the gym for 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then you just drop off entirely. I just feel like for me personally, motivation is like a no-go. And it's all about being disciplined. And so that is kind of what I found last fall, whenever everything was falling apart. And whenever I watched that video, that like, I need to make these promises to myself and like show myself that like, I actually want to make these changes by showing up and like making it happen. Overall, like, I just am not really an advocate of only operating off of, this is not where this goes, only operating off of motivation. I just think that like motivation is like the kickstart, right? So like you start maybe at the end of the year not the end of the year, but the beginning of the year specifically with like the motivation to like make a change or whatever. But in order to actually make something happen and like change your life from it, you have to take that motivation and turn it into something else, turn it into like discipline and hold yourself accountable. Am I making sense? Do y'all understand what I'm saying? I feel like I'm kind of all over the place because I'm having to like juggle doing my makeup and also like keeping my head on track to what I'm saying and the point I'm trying to get across. So hopefully my whole spiel made sense to y'all. Okay, so now that I've done my mascara, we can get back to what we were talking about because I needed to focus. But basically, let me get myself together. Basically, my whole point in this video, I feel like I have said it, but then at the same time, I feel like I haven't said it, but then I felt like I've said it in pieces. What I'm saying is that I really wanted to jump on here, and I'm trying to find my lip liner as I talk to you guys. I really wanted to jump on here and like just share with you guys that like now that we're in this time period of like trying new things with the new year, setting new goals, that like you shouldn't only, in my opinion, rely on motivation. I feel like you should take that motivation and like use it as like a kickstart and really like build yourself up on it. But when you reach that point when the motivation fades, don't be so hard on yourself and like don't give up. You just have to find a new way to like channel that desire and channel that like initial like push and energy and transform it into something sustainable for you. If you take that motivation and like you turn it into discipline and like make that promise to yourself and show up for yourself on a consistent basis, you'll be able to like see results and you'll feel those changes really start to take place in your life. And whatever you said you wanted to achieve at the beginning of the year or whatever, as the year progresses, you're actually gonna see those things like coming to life and you're gonna feel really good about what you've been able to do, and it'll get easier to like sustain it over time the more and more that you do it. Like you'll get better at it, it'll just feel easier, and then you'll start to feel better overall, whether that be working out, eating healthier, starting a new project, whatever. Like it's gonna pay off if you find a way to like keep at it. And that's really the hardest part. Just know that like the difficulties that you're going through, everyone has gone through them too. It's not just you, you're not failing. Like it's just part of the process. And so you just have to keep at it. Honestly, if you made it to this point of the YouTube video, kudos to you, because I really feel like I was all over the place, and I really hope that you guys understand what I'm trying to say to y'all. So thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I really hope that this video was helpful and put things into perspective to you on like how to take this feeling that we're all having right now about like new goals and wanting to try new things in the new year, and how to like keep that and extend that momentum into like the whole year, instead of just once the motivation goes away, like feeling like you have nothing fueling you. Like I said, I'm a disciplined girl. I'm a making promises to myself kind of girl, showing myself love and care by like holding and keeping the promises that I make to myself so I can actually like reach the goals that I wanted to reach. So I hope that you guys like feel where I'm coming from, and I hope that like you guys can take this and apply it to your own lives and keep yourselves going in those moments where you feel like it's really hard to like stay on top of things, when like you either want to give up or you want to rest or you're feeling tired. Just keep pushing and just think about that promise you made to yourself and like that desire that you have that only really you can fulfill. So with that being said, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I hope that you have an amazing 2023, and I will see you guys in my next video.